Bit of a weird video because I'm going to be putting a Dokkan Fest that, as of recording this right now, I have no idea what it's going to be. We're currently about an hour and a half away from it being teased on Twitter, hopefully. So if we get animations in a kit, you'll be seeing that in the background now as I put up other graphics just to coincide with my thoughts and feelings. And this video is going to be about pulling, a bit of a pulling guide, I guess you could say. Let's do guide in quotation marks. Are you a new player, you getting into Dokkan? Have you been really excited about the global sync and you want to see these new characters? Maybe Dragon Ball has always been your favorite shonen, maybe it's been a shonen you're getting into, maybe it's been a shonen that you sort of fell off and came back in. If you need help pulling practices, such, then let me go through some things. So, just to recap, in case you're new and maybe you've only just gotten into following Dokkan, banners will now have a pity on them, so long as they aren't Do Dokkan Fest, Golden Week, Saiyan Day, Anniversary, or Worldwide Download Celebration. I assume Tanabata as well. What that means is that there is now a set amount of stones you need to pull the character, and this is important because if they happen to be your favorite character and they're pretty good, why not just go for it? Well, let's talk about why. When you first start Dokkan, the stones feel endless as a free-to-play player. Note that this pulling guide, again in quotation marks, doesn't really have anything to do with whales. If you're a whale, you're just going to pull until you get it. What I always suggest is that if you're new, free to play, low spending, do not ever pull for dupes. I don't think the hidden potential system is good enough currently. So rule number one of pulling, I don't pull for dupes almost ever, because Dokkan's going to fuck you on banners. You're gonna get shafted inevitably, and pulling that one extra dupe is, unless it's your favorite character, is not guaranteed. They're returning on the best banners anyway. It just feels kind of bad to miss. Right now, the potential system is such that the best characters in the game, the best characters in all of Dokkan, don't really give a shit if you have one dupe or two dupes or three dupes or four dupes. So long as you have the character, it's enough. Like, most of my characters run without any dupes at all, and if I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really lose runs on the best teams. Dupes just don't really do anything except look fancy for Twitter clips. And that's fun, right? But something you learn playing other gacha is that oftentimes the supporter units will be your experience with those rainbowed units. Like, I don't ever go out of my way to rainbow unit, because when I've got the character and they're on my team and I'm running them as a lead, I'm just bringing another version of that character anyway, and that's acting as my quote-unquote like rainbowed unit. And the thing about that is, most great characters have one build anyway because the system isn't great. So before you feel pressured to summon on banners multiple times, before you feel pressured by this system, just know it doesn't really matter that much. The characters are too good now. I'm sure if you come from year 2 or 3 or something Dokkan where the system first got added, I don't know what year it got added in, but I'm sure if you come from an earlier year in Dokkan where this first got added, this feels like heresy, because the characters genuinely needed their hidden potential systems because they didn't do other things. But nowadays, characters auto crit, auto additional, auto dodge, guard, you know, have damage reduction. It just feels like a pointless system these days. But what about you guys who might be free to play or low spending, but you have a collector spirit? Maybe you have a, I don't know, maybe you get your favorite character. Maybe your favorite character is Tech Super Saiyan Vegeta from the Cell Saga, and you just want him so bad and you want him to be perfect and you want to spend stones. Maybe you're wondering, how does pity affect me? I'm pulling for the character I love. Maybe a Vegito comes out and you want him rainbowed. How much do I have to save? Well, we got the answer to that too. I was looking for someone to chime in with how much stones they'd earn this year. We have someone on Reddit here who says they've earned about 5,500. So let's call the ballpark 5,500, give or take. That means if Monato's right and the pity is around 800 to 1,000 based on if you have rainbows already and you sell them for coins, etc., you know, that's a pretty substantial amount. In about 12 months time, if we were to take it strictly as this example of, you know, wholeness, then that's about 458 dragon stones a month, give or take, you know, maybe more, maybe less. I'm expecting a little more as the sync goes on, because the 10th anniversary should be a huge celebration. I expect for the 10th anniversary to have the most stones given out during any celebration, but we'll see. Which means that, again, you're saving 2,500 stones for major celebrations. I made a video on that. You're saving 2,500 stones for major celebrations so that you can pull whatever the anniversary or worldwide download celebration character is without fail if they continue the pity system as it is. In those 2,500 stones, you should on average pull the character you're pulling on with the stones spent. I believe the average amount of stones spent, give or take, is about 1,000 to somewhere in the ballpark of 850. if you were just to hit it purely on percentage chance. Again, pulling is just an average, it's just a percent. You put it into the machine and the slot machine whirs and it spits out a character. It means you could pull them in 50 stones, it means you could pull them in 5 stones, it means you can pull them in 10,000 stones. But on average, 850 to about 1,000, I believe, is the percent chance of you pulling the unit. And so the point of this video is to tell you that if 5,500 stones are in the ballpark, 2,500 stones for celebration to always guarantee yourself a pitiable unit if they continue with the pity as it is, then 3,000 stones in the ballpark is about how much you have to spend on any banner throughout the year. And to, make myself a little more clear, what I mean is 3,000 stones is your budget essentially that remains after you spend that 2,500 on anniversary. If we're going to make 5,500, if that is our estimate, then 3,000 is about how much we'd have to just spend on any given banner that comes up, which again, 1,000 stones if you want to pity on any banner. So maybe you get 3 guaranteed monthly DFEs of your choice. That's not bad. Of course, this is assuming you come on and you do your missions. This is assuming that you have no other missions to, really take on. This number could be more, could be less. Dokkan's pity system is still pretty archaic in the grand scheme of things, but it does exist, and the reason I'm making this video as a sort of duplicate of my previous one on this topic is just to give people a bit of a rough guide, a rough estimate, in other words, some more information on how much they need, because remember, even though I think Dokkan is a pretty fun game, it's a pretty good game for what it is, how old it is, but gacha are predatory. They just are. They're not great for that reason. So we have to play smartly so that we don't feel burnt out and then feel the need to spend on these games that have unfair rates. If you take anything from this, if you're new to Dokkan, if you just got here, and maybe in other gacha, the pulling for duplicates is a more hallowed practice, it's suggested, it's yada yada. I mean, I know, I come from Epic 7, and the whales are the ones who have the imprints, right? Just know that dupes are outdated. Until the system gets updated, the characters just don't need them. Like, I can't really explain how old the system feels. It feels old to interact with, and there are some characters who need like hidden potential system dodge, but if they need that, they're probably relying on something that means that part of them isn't that great anyway. They just have like this huge gaping hole in their kit anyway. If you take nothing else from this, just don't spend your extra stones on dupes. Know that you have around 5,500 again. It's not a perfect science, but around 5,500. Which means you have about 3,000 to spend on whatever throughout the year. It might not seem like that because you don't get the stones all at once, but if you were to just not spend anything while doing your missions, you'd see that number go up and up and up. I said before that I would spend down on banners this year because, I still want to interact with the game while not really spending anything on the game other than the subscription, which is $9 a month or some shit. And I'd go from 0 stones back to like 500, 600, 700 stones by the time another major celebration rolled around, and then I would have like 1,500 by the end of it and enough to pull on anything. Just be patient with Dokkan. If you ever feel like you want to take a break but you still want to sort of have your account idle, just log on and do your dailies and then close the app completely. It takes 3-4 minutes to do that, and I promise you'll have so many stones, so much more than you think is possible by the time you hit the end of that month, by the time you hit the end of the second month, etc. Like, it really does stack up. But I've been lone, we own, we're all gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, you're gonna make it. Subscribe to join the club, like if you like the video. How are you with your pulling addiction? Do you have one? Are you pretty controlled? I would really try to be controlled about this. Start a new gacha, start a new account, play it free to play, just stay away from pulling singles on your Dokkan account because those singles really add up when you're just fishing for hope. Don't go fishing for hope out there, man, because gacha is not there to make you feel hopeful. You know what I'm saying? I know it seems so pretty when you're on Twitter and you see someone like, oh my god, I pulled the new LR off a single. Hey, maybe that's you one of these days, but that's not me, man. That's not me. Peace.